What's up, guys? Moltron 18 coming at you today with the September 17th, 2018 ban list. What deck it is? Mekk-knight Invoked. Uh, One of very few decks that did not get hit in this ban list, along with many other decks. And I feel like this deck is actually going to be more meta relevant because now we have Super Polymerization at 1, and most of the mirror matches, well, we got mostly mirror matches going to be in this format, along with like Trick Stars, Cyber Dragons, and many other things. Alright, so let's get to it. Start off with the monsters. I'm going to play 3 copies of Mekk-knight Blue Sky. Your searcher of the deck. Other searcher of the deck, 3 copies of Mekk-knight Purple Nightfall. As for the other Mekk-knights, we're also running 2 copies of Mekk-knight Indigo Eclipse, 1 copy of Mekk-knight Red Moon, and 1 copy of Mekk-knight Yellow Star. So the Mekk-knights we need, and those are the most common ones you're going to be running, along with every other Mekk-knight deck that's also running about the same. Also, up for the other monsters that play in the deck, 3 copies of Alistair the Invoker. Invoke Core searches your invocation, main material for your Invoke fusions. Really good card. Also, a hand trap that gives you Invoke fusion monsters 1,000 attack. Sorry about that, I got a little break for a moment. For the hand traps, we're running 2 copies of Ash and also 2 copies of Ghost Ogre. Also other materials. Aside from them being your standard hand traps, they're also materials that you could use to summon Mechaba and Purgatrio. And also your opponent. Most decks in this manner also running copies of Ash and Ogres also. So we can also use their materials. That's it for the monsters. Now we're going to go to the spells. Running 2 copies of Magical Meltdown. Field spell part main engine of the Invoked. Searches your Alistair, and you pretty much, it's a 1 card invocation and material. You search your Alistair on activation, and then you norm summon your Alistair to search your invocation if it's not interrupted. Also, 2 copies of Terraforming to search out your Magical Meltdown. Simple, self-explanatory. Running 2 copies of Invocation, also self-explanatory to the deck. You pretty much just fusion summon any Invoke monsters by banishing an Alistair in your graveyard or on your field, or send it from hand to grave. And shuffle stuff back in the deck and add your banished Alistair back to your hand. Also running 2 copies of Call by the Grave. Like I said, the reason why we're running 2 copies now, Banlist says 2 copies of Call by the Grave. It's still a good card, even at 2, because it's better than 1, because we could still possibly go into it and snipe out those hand traps that attempt to interrupt us. Also running 2 copies of Scapegoat. Like I said, monster creation. We also run links in the deck, so very good card and easy link accessibility. The main reason because we activate this card on opponent's end phase, and then all we gotta do is just summon the monster and instant Alistair, Invoker, Madness. That's pretty much what this card's for, and any other link that you want to summon. 1 copy of Monster Reborn for revival. Also 1 copy of War Legacy Succession. Also a revival card, but difference between this and Monster Reborn. This one has to summon a monster from grave to a zone of link monster points to. And Monster Reborn can just summon any monsters from either player's graveyard. Also running 1 copy of Upstart Goblin. Doesn't really matter if we give our opponent 1,000 life points, because we could still pretty much just game them because of how big, because every Mekk-knight is very strong, the fusions are really strong, the link monsters are really strong. So it doesn't matter if our opponent gains 1,000 life points. We're still drawing a card. We're still drawing a key piece to our combo. Running one copy of Super Harmonization. Like I said, Banlist, Konami. I don't know what you guys are thinking. If I bring this card back to 1, card is very powerful. All we do, and it's a quick play. It could be activated in your opponent's turn too. So all we gotta do is just discard a card. Choose materials from either side of the field. We can even use all materials on our opponent's field to summon a fusion monster. And a lot of mirror matches are pretty sure gonna be utilizing this card now because of the fact that you can summon your fusion monsters either with invocation or with a different spell card. This card's really good and it cannot be responded to. So your opponent can't activate counter trap, your opponent can't negate it with a mecha buff if you want to get rid of the mecha buff. That's pretty much what this card's for. Other spells we are running, 2 copies of Spellbook of Knowledge. Because we do want to draw key pieces. It doesn't matter if we get rid of Alistair. We're still drawing, we're still summoning fusions. And yeah, we need to draw more into our pieces. So 2 copies of Spellbook of Knowledge, it's fine. Sorry about that. Also running 1 copy of Will Lexi's Memory. It's a pretty good card because you just you activate it, you summon a Mekk-knight from your deck. So if you do all your summons before activating this card, you could still activate this because this card says for the rest of the turn after this card's activation. So you can summon your Invoked stuff first, and if this card's in your hand, you can activate this last to summon a Mekk-knight monster, or activate your opponent's turn to summon a Mekk-knight monster. Because it's a quick play, and we could just summons out a monster out from our deck for free. And most of the times, we summon either Purple Nightfall or Blue Sky because of the fact that Purple Nightfall can banish self-search a Mekk-knight monster to our opponent's turn, and come back to our next my phase. And Blue Sky can get us searches anyways, depending on the opponent's card column. So 1 copy of Alexi Memory is really good. Also running 1 copy of Soul Charge. I don't know how frequent this card's gonna come up in the format because of whole new time procedures. Game 1 it might come up more often than others, but it does revive our monsters in the grave that, let's say, we're like low on resources. This card pretty much just says, bring back every monster in our grave at a cost of 1,000 life points per monster. My bad, not cost, we lose it. So it has to be lost no matter what. For traps, we're running 2 copies of Will Legacy Secret. This card is a call to haunted for any monster that's low 5 and higher. And also, its other effect is if while this card is on the field, any of our opponent's monsters that attempt to activate the effect while there's a Mekk-knight in that same column, mainly it works well with Indigo Eclipse because you could switch your columns the Mekk-knight is in. So pretty much, if your opponent summons a monster, they attempt to activate the effect. You move a Mekk-knight. You move Indigo Eclipse to a different zone. Sorry about that. I got a little tongue twisted. You move Indigo Eclipse to a different zone that a monster's in, and pretty much once they attempt to activate it, it's negated. It ends a static effect, so it does not trigger for them to actually respond to that effect because it's continuous. And also for the other tracks we're running is 2 copies of Evenly Matched. We all know why. This deck loves to go second. Sometimes our opponent will try to set up a very big board. You know, Extra Links is no longer a thing, but we still got issues with Ultigeist, Barrier Statues, Anti-Meta. Just anything that just wants to go first and set up that back row. Or if somehow, by some miracle, someone actually manages to pull off the Extra Link combos without Nightmare Goblin, this card is still good for it. Of course, if Tri-Gate's out of it, we had to be out Tri-Gate first. But yes, that's pretty much what this card's for. Just pretty much just mass removal. Because sometimes you only need a battle phase against a massive board. We just play this card. but for some reason it doesn't get negated, your opponent's losing a lot of things. That's what it is. On to the extra deck. Running 3 copies of Invoked Mekk-knight. Your main go into fusion requires a Alistair and a light monster, which is pretty much most of the decks in this current meta is light related. So, and plus while he's on the field, the opponent activates a card or effect. Depending on the effect, depending on the card type, you could discard that same card type, negate, and banish. Like it was really good, plus your 2500. Like, come on, like 2500 card negates whatever you wanted to negate, and a soft once per turn. So if you have 2 copies on the field, you could negate up to do 2 things in that turn. Very good card. Also, the other features we're running are 2 copies of Invoked Trio and 1 copy of Invoked Cactus. Trio pretty much says I attack everything. If my opponent has a massive field, he gains 200 for everything. So as long as there's nothing to stop Trio's effects, he's pretty much just gonna attack all monsters. He gains 200 for every card on your opponent's field, and can attack every monster once. So even if you attempt to revive a monster, Trio could just hit that monster. And Invoke Cactus, since Paleozoic is also another thing in the format, Invoke Cactus, you could just banish one of the frogs. Summon this card. Paleozoic frogs cannot get over this card. That's why it's main. I prefer the main Invoked Raijin, but I don't have it. Cactus is just as good because of the fact that he's that out to that Paleozoic matchup. I'm also running 1 copy of Command Check Mega Fleet. Reason why? Because even with extra links being a very limited thing due to Goblin's ban, there are problematic extra deck monsters like Master Dark Law, Cyber Dragon Infinity, and you get the point. Just pretty much any problematic extra deck monster, or even your opponent somehow U-board you somehow. This card can pretty much just get over it. All you gotta do is just summon Cyber Dragon, or if for some reason they have a Cyber Dragon, you can just summon this card. Onto the links. Running 2 copies of Alistair Invoker Madness. He's pretty much your main link monster to go into because zones power down left and right. Whenever you fusion summon monster, discard a card, search an invocation book of law. So pretty much you get up to 2 fusions in 1 turn. And also it's good for link climbing to things like Nightmare Unicorn or Firewall Dragon or just anything like that. And he pretty much just says, I can possibly OTK you somehow. That's really what this card's for. And you could just summon more fusion monsters from the extra deck to his down left, down right markers. That's what it's for. Playing 1 copy of Mekk-knight Morningstar. Not really as much going to as Alistair. When he's link summoned, you discard a card. Oh my bad. Discard a Mekk-knight or World Legacy card. Search a Mekk-knight World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. And also, just double check. Yeah, also if you have Mekk-knight monster with a different that battles a monster in a different column than it, your monster can't be shot by that battle. Yeah, that's what it says. Yeah, so pretty much any Mekk-knight that attacks in a different column pretty much says they can't be shot by that battle. But this card usually goes into your World Legacy Secret, World Legacy Succession, World Legacy Memory. So pretty much just anything, or even another Mekk-knight monster that we could actually summon. That's what this card's for. That's pretty much his only purpose in the extra deck right now. I probably would take him out for something else. I don't know what yet. But for now, I'm just running one copy. Also, for Nightmares, we're running one copy of Nightmare Unicorn, one copy of Nightmare Cerberus, and two copies of Nightmare Phoenix. Reason why? Back row. Like, the more back row removal we have, the better. And since I don't main too many back row removal, Phoenix is like that one card I can go into to just remove discard card, pop back row. Cerberus, destroy a special monster in the main monster zone that's only if I bait it out of certain effect. Or if there's a card that I want to get rid of. And then Unicorn, we all know why Unicorn. He's a really good link monster. Spends a card when on his link summon, and any monster for every monster that's co-linked during my draw phase, draw that many monster, draw that many cards. You go to the amount of monsters that are co-linked to that for every nightmare monster co-linked to it. I'm sorry, I haven't brain farts every moment. So pretty much Unicorn just says we draw cards if we have co-linked nightmares. Last card of the extra deck, one copy of Firewall Dragon. Firewall Dragon did not get had in the ban list, so to say, still a really good card. Whenever a monster this card points to leaves field, is short by battle or sent to graveyard, summon the monster from your hand. Also, co-links adds up to that many cards based on how many monsters are co-linked to it from grave to hand. Firewall's still a good card. It probably should have gotten banned, but like I said, Konami tends to not ban protagonist cards. Don't know why. So this is probably something they should have banned, but they didn't. But yeah, I guess it's a lucky thing it didn't get banned, because there is a possibility we could do things still with it. I don't know. Onto the side deck. Starting two copies of Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. Like I said, Nightmares are still somehow playable, even without Goblin. Firewall Dragon's still a card. Cyber Dragons run that Chimera tech. Yeah, like this card just pretty much, and Mirror Matches is really good because it pretty much says we snipe the link monster out, and they can't really do much after that. Or we even snipe out that Invoked Mech above it. It's the one card they go into. That's pretty much all this card does, and it's a really good card still because it's really good in a mirror match because we just snipe out certain extra deck cards. And it's also good against Nightmares, it's good against sniping out Firewall. And that's pretty much it for what this card does. Also running two copies of Cyber Dragon. Like I said, unless I'm not playing against Cyber Dragon, I'm signing this because that's how you summon Chimera Tech Mega Fleet, because you need a Cyber Dragon monster, and there's any monsters in the extra monster zone to summon Chimera Tech Mega Fleet. That's literally what this card's for, and that's its only purpose. Also, citing Triple Twin Twister. Like I said, heavy back row. True Dracos is still a thing. Poltergeist, Anti-Meta. Any deck that relies on heavy back row. Twin Twister is the answer for it. Also, signing three copies of Shared Ride. Trickstars are still a thing. Gokis are still gonna somehow play around even without their Goblin. And any deck that is heavy searching, this card is pretty much says it's pretty much just a max C on search. Really good card, and plus it helps me draw into more combo pieces. I only set it in if I play against a deck that wants to go second. So every time I will side these in. Also running two copies of Hate Trunade. Like I said, back row. Which pretty much just bounces out back row, bounces all set back row. Paleozoics, Poltergeist, Sky Strikers because they got multi roll still. They just pretty much set all that back row. We activate this card, all the back row gets banished. Not even goes back to hand. It just gets banished. Also running 2 copies of Unending Nightmare. Like I said, True Dracos is the main issue, and all the guys is not a thing because we want to get rid of their protocols. And also running 1 copy of Curse Seal Forbidden Spell. Unfortunately, I only have 1 copy. Otherwise, I will be at least signing in 2 because of the mirror match and also because of anything that's 2 spell heavy devilize on 1 spell. Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason. Like I said, anything spell heavy or anything that relies on 1 spell specifically. Like let's say Fluffles, for example, even though it's not a meta deck, but it's still a deck. Rely on solely polymerization. You stop that polymerization, they can't do anything. Invoked, you stop that invocation, they can't do anything. They can't summon that fusion monster. They have to rely on their link monsters. And even still, their link monsters aren't as good in offense. Because what's the point of having their Meltdown Invoker if they can't invocate into a fusion? So, and yeah, so that's pretty much it for the profile. Like I said, September 2018, Super Polymerization's back at 1, so Mekk-knight folks are gonna abuse that somehow. Heroes, I'm so sad because when I had Nebula Neos, I couldn't showcase the profile because it was the lack of having the cards not proxied and the fact they decided to hit on a Banlist, so I went with more of a meta relevant deck that actually wasn't too affected by the Banlist. And since I already had the Invoked engine, all I really needed was the Mekk-knight engine. And once I got the Mekk-knight engine, I decided to play that deck. And like I said, yeah, let me give a few shout outs. Carl Manigat, I gotta thank him because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been able to play Mekk-knight Invoked along with Ash Blossom's Evenly Match and Ghost Ogres. Also gotta thank Christian Williams, a friend of mine. Not many people know, because he doesn't really play too much tournaments, but he does play the game, and he was the reason why I even had to invoke core. Also, I gotta give some shout outs on people supporting the channel because if it's not for you guys, I wouldn't have a channel or I wouldn't be putting things on channel with the intent that I actually want to for more people to subscribe. Yeah, I also gotta thank the locals I go to because if it's not for them, how can I get much practice? So yeah, that's it. Like I said, please like, comment, subscribe. I will be doing some more of these in the future. I'll also let you know if I have some change ups on the Mekk-knight Invoke deck or even another deck. The reason why Mekk-knight Invoke I'm reviewing because OTS comes up and what this balance said Mekk-knight Invoke to me, I was like, okay, let's play Mekk-knight Invoke and yeah. And it actually has been working out so far. Like I made top 2 yesterday at a local. We technically tied. Like who knows what the turnout was gonna be. And yeah, that's it. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate if you do subscribe, and I would appreciate the criticism of comments, despite them being good or bad. And yeah, all right, guys. That was the Mekk-knight Invoke deck profile for this 2018 Banlist of September. And yeah, you guys have a nice night. Take it easy. See you later.